Alright, so welcome to my What in the videos. This time I'm playing in the Tiger P. The Tiger P is the first German heavy tank that you unlock at tier 4, right after the Tiger H. The Tiger Porsche, why is it called the Porsche and why is the other tank called the Heinshel? Well, the only difference between the Heinshel or the Tiger 2H and the Tiger 2P, the P stands for Porsche and the H stands for Heinshel, if you didn't know it. The Porsche one, what we are driving now, has a turret, and the turret only gets 100mm of frontal turret armor, while the Heinshel has 180mm of frontal turret armor. That's the only difference between these two tanks. Also, the Porsche turret turns faster than the Heinshel. I don't know if you really need it, because you're in a heavy tank, and mostly heavy tanks what they do is they stand well, or they tank all the shots, or they just snipe at the back. They're not like medium tanks who rush onto you and try to get on your sides. So I don't know if it's really necessary to get that extra turret rotation speed, so I'll go with the Heinshel. The Heinshel is only a 0.3 battle rating higher. But anyway, about the tank itself, I don't really know a lot of this tank. I know that there are not a lot of tanks produced, only like 120 tanks of the two versions, so 122 tanks of the Tiger Porsche and Heinshel. I don't know the exact number of this tank, how many times it's produced, but the tank first saw combat in 1944 in the Battle of the Bulge, and this tank was feared under the Allies. You do not want to meet this tank. If you thought that the Tiger was a beast of a tank, you don't want to meet this one, because there was a new technology what the Germans copied from the Russians, and that's the technology of sloped armor. Finally, the Germans found out that if you slope your armor, you actually increase your armor effectiveness. Like for example, the Tiger H has 100mm of armor. It has 100mm. It's enough to penetrate the low velocity guns of the Russians, to bones I mean. But it's only 100mm, and that 100mm is not sloped at all. The Tiger is a very boxy tank, and well, as you may guess, people actually can penetrate the 100mm at the end of the war. But then you have the Tiger 2. When the Tiger 2 came onto the battlefield, it had 160mm of frontal hull armor. 160mm of frontal hull armor. Plus it is sloped. The effectiveness of this armor is 220mm. Now you may think, well, that's a lot, but you must know that there are actually quite some tanks that can penetrate this in tier 4. There I got my first kill. Nice. Like for example, the T-44s can penetrate you, and you have a lot of people that penetrate you in your turret. I've had so many times that my gun knocked out, or my gunner, or my loader, etc. Everything what is in the turret, because of the poor armoring of the turret. The speed of this tank is, well, it's quite good at flat terrain. It's kinda the same as the Tiger H. It can hit up to 30 km an hour, but it's not really a good climber of hills, so yeah, that's why it's a heavy tank. It can survive some blasts for bombs also. The gun is a long 88mm gun. That's not the same as you use on a Tiger. The difference between this gun and the Tiger is that this gun has more penetration, as you might have guessed, and it is also capable of loading APCR shells, and those APCR shells you're never going to use because the penetration is very high on the APCR, like 240mm of armor. The only circumstances when I use the APCR is mostly when there is some IS-3 or IS-4 in front of me. The battle rating of this tank is quite good also, even though I meet IS-3s and IS-2s, IS-4s. It is only very rare, like 1 in 20 battles, so it's not really that necessary. Oh, I love this tank. Look at how I nailed that T-44. The biggest enemy of this tank, and I hate those Russian tanks. The Russian tanks are those T-44s. I don't know what is wrong with that tank, but that tank is almost impossible to take down. The T-44, it's very fast. It has a very good 100mm gun, or 85. I don't know. I think it's a 100mm. Nah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't go on me. But that 100mm gun is capable of penetrating you. So basically, when you meet a T-44, this tank is basically a T-44. This is a German T-44, but you only get one T-44. I don't know, the T-44s, they're just so overpowered at the moment. They really have to increase its battle rating, because, well, or at least give the Russians one T-44. For example, the T-44 is very fast. The T-44 is very maneuverable. The T-44 has a very good gun. The T-44 has very good hull armor. I mean, it has 120mm of hull armor. The only place where it can penetrate the T-44s are in the sides, the back, or in the turrets. The T-44 also suffers from the same problem as the Tiger P, because it has less armor in the turret and is actually very easy to penetrate in the turrets. But yeah, my own personal thoughts, I like this tank, basically because of the gun. The gun is really strong, even though, well, the T-44s are basically the only tank where I'm afraid of. I mean, this beast can take on, it can one-shot IS-2s, it can one-shot IS-3s with the APCR shells, it can one-shot every single T-34, and also tank destroyers. The only tank what you don't want to go up against is the T-44. It's pretty fast at flat terrain, not really in climbing. The turret rotation is pretty good. The only cons of this tank is the poor turret armor, what will be fixed with the Tiger Heinshel though. The matchmaking is very good, because you poorly go up against IS-3s and IS-4s. So yeah, I don't know what I have to tell you more. It's also very fast in reverse, because it has actually 4 gears in reverse, so that's pretty good. About the game itself, basically I carried the whole team on my own. The whole team kept at spawn and didn't move at all. Yeah, it didn't move at all. And of course, you know what happens, all the Russians spawn into their planes and they will just rocket the whole spawn points, and that's what happened in this game. That's why we lost. So we captured the zone. There's an Su-2 coming in and he will bomb me, otherwise I haven't been killed once. There we go, and I'm dead. So that's the end of the video. Hope you like it, and I'm Follow, and I'm out. Bye.